Hello, everyone. My name is Todd Black, and I am here today to talk to you about something very special to me, the world of Avatar. It's hard to believe, but last week around this time, many of us were watching the two-part series finale for The Legend of Korra, and might I say, I thought it was a spectacular end to a spectacular series, and it's my hope that we as fans talk about this for a long time, but talk about Legend of Korra and the finale and the series as a whole, and truly enjoy what was given to us because it really was a gift. But as in all things, when something ends, we wonder, is there a new possibility for a new beginning down the line? This goes especially for Avatar because we got The Last Airbender and we didn't know if there would be anything else. And then all of a sudden, here comes Legend of Korra, and it was great. And we know a lot of us liked it. And so now we have to wonder, could there be a third series? Nothing would bring me more joy than for there to be a third series. So I want to help make that happen by pitching to you, the fans, my idea for what a third Avatar series should be. Now, when I say pitch, I don't mean, oh, I'm just going to, tell you off the top of my head what I think they should do or anything, because everyone can do that, and you have every right to do that, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I have already written out my idea. I have written out a 66 chapter story, original story, set in the world after Korra, set to star the Avatar, Earthbending Avatar after Korra. I have art for it, and I even have a fully animated, mostly animated, I'll be fair, intro video to truly kick off the story. And so I am here today to give you a brief synopsis of my story, and then I will leave you to whether if you want to watch it, if you or watch the intro video and then read the story, I will leave it to you. And then in the next few parts of the series, which I will get to in talk about in a few minutes, I will tell you where we go from here. So allow me to tell you about my Avatar world. My Avatar world is called Avatar: Spirit of Earth, and it stars Rey, my earthbending avatar. Allow me to give you a little background to our world. This story is set 80 years after the ending of Legend of Korra. And how I define that is after the ending, Korra lives for another 60 years. And so she dies around 80, 81, depending on how you see it. And then 23 years later, we meet Rey, who is our avatar. And a key difference here is that unlike Aang and unlike Korra, who found out they were the avatar when they were very, very young, Rey doesn't find out until he's 23. Now, for me, that was actually a key story element because I wanted to both continue the very small, I'll admit, but tradition of each avatar being older than the other. Because first we had Aang. Yes, technically we had Roku first, but in terms of main characters, we had Aang, who was 10 or 12. I honestly keep getting that mixed up. Then we had Korra, who was 17 when we first met her, and now here's Rey, a fully fledged adult who's more or less lived a life on his own for 23 years, and then all of a sudden he finds out he's the Avatar. Now, I always define Rey as a mix between Korra and Aang, but with a few cool personality traits of his own. And one of them is immediately revealed because when he finds out he's the Avatar, he doesn't want to be it. He wants nothing to do with it. He doesn't. It's not that he doesn't care about the world. He does, but how he sees with his mind, he sees that the world is as at peace as it can be. And then when they're told, "Hey, the Avatar needs to be here," he goes, "No, there isn't. There is not a need," which is actually something they touched on in Korra. Is there a need for an Avatar still? And in my world, at the beginning of the story, you kind of think there isn't, and Rey doesn't think there is, and he gives very logical reasons as to why there is not a need for an Avatar right now. But as the story would naturally end, if he doesn't take the job, he does, and so begins his journey. And what a journey it will be if I do say myself, because I am the writer and I am a fanboy, and I honestly do love my story. So, can you not tell by my grinning face and my artwork that I have right here? Moving on. So, what can you expect in Spirit of Earth? Because I don't want to spoil much outside of what it did. Most of what I've talked about here and going to be talking about happens in the first book and a little bit beyond. but very much non-spoilers. You can expect a very Last Airbender kind of feel. And by that I mean Ray and his companions, who are in the picture I just showed. They're going to be traveling all over the world. We are honestly going to visit more or less all four nations, and what they're going to find as the journey goes on, especially by the end of book one, is that not only is the Avatar needed, but it is needed because there is a threat so large and so huge that the Avatar is honestly needed now more than ever, more than 100-Year War, more than equal Serpent Locke or Sahir and Kuvira. This is huge on numerous levels, and it really ties into the fact that this is a two-pronged story, because not only is there going to be a story, the main story, if you will, about Ray becoming the Avatar, saving the world, but there's also a huge tie into the spirit world, which is what I really wanted, not just because it's called Spirit of Earth, but there's a large, slow build to grand finale that features the spirits in high regard. And even though Korra showed off the spirits, and even Last Airbender showed off the spirits, I feel there's more to tell of their story, their personalities, their ideas and ideals on certain situations. And in Spirit of Earth, you are going to get that in bulk. So I hope you'll tune in and read what I have in store for that. But obviously, there's got to be a villain, or in my case, there's got to be villains. And so I'm here to proudly tell you about The Conspiracy. That is the name of my evil group, evil organization, evil society of villains, however you want to call them. Yes, I'm enjoying this very, very much. Who are the Conspiracy? Well, I'm not going to spoil it all for you, but basically the backbone of the Conspiracy is that they are a group comprised of all 5 nations, the 4 bending nations and non-benders. I like to include them, coming together in very large numbers. Like, you heard rumors about how big the Red Lotus was. These guys are bigger than that. I mean, like, a lot bigger. And they have honestly infiltrated every facet of our society with one goal and one goal alone: to rebuild the world to a perfect place of order. Their order, but order that they truly believe will bring the world back to what it should be. Now you're saying, wait a minute, this sounds like a little bit like Kuvira mixed with a little bit of Sahir, and it is, but it's not, because how they go about this plan is completely nuts and completely over the top, but yet completely makes sense. But the real thing that makes it separate is that whereas Sahir wanted anarchy, whether you wanted it or not, whereas Kuvira said, I'm making the Earth Empire whether you like it or not, the Conspiracy want the approval of the people. They want the 5 nations behind them to say, oh, we understand what you're doing, and we can give you full will permission. You are our voice. Do what you need to do. And the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to get it. Okay, there's a spoiler for you. They're going to get it, and then they're going to set up this giant grand scheme. They'll be spread out through 4 books, and it's gonna get bad, and yet it's gonna be fun to watch. And as you hear this plan, you're gonna say, "Wait a minute, this kind of does sound like a good plan." But on the other hand, there's the extreme, which I'm not gonna spoil. And let me tell you, it is an extreme to where you're like, "Oh yeah, Ray needs to take these people down." So, and part of the fun about writing the Conspiracy isn't just for me writing the 5 nations in them, having prominent members of all 5 nations in the Conspiracy and talking through them and all their different voices. It's that my Conspiracy grows, it evolves. They are not afraid to deviate from the plan or change the plan or accelerate plans based on what Ray and his crew are doing. And that really, for me, is a lot of fun, because it gives not just me the ability as the writer to change things or show how smart they are, but it allows me to give Ray new motivation for what is going on in his world. Because obviously, if he's fighting these guys, they either are not going to care and keep doing what they're doing, or they're going to care and change up so they can stop him from doing what he's doing. That happens a lot. Ray gets beat down a lot. And that's not really a spoiler, because he's the Avatar and you kind of expect it at points. But he has to change his ideals. He has to change his vision of what he has to do to save the world, because the world keeps changing to him. And if you don't believe me when I say that, I would challenge you to read book 1 and get to the end of book one and say, oh my gosh, yeah, this is not going to be as easy as you thought. So, and if you do say that, then I will applaud you and I will apologize for lying to you. And there you go. So, as I'm hitting the 10-minute mark, I'm keeping a track right there. You can't really see it, but I see it. It's right there on my camera. Webcams! What is even one thing that Last Airbender and Legend of Korra did really well is they brought modern world themes, our world themes, into their stories, and that is no different from us here at Spirit of Earth, because there's going to be a major theme running throughout this story that you will see through the eyes of Ray and his companions, and that is the idea of modernism versus traditionalism. Now, as I said, this is 80 years. This story is set 80 years after the end of Legend of Korra, but we're not in a fully modern world yet. We're not in like the world we live in now, more or less. It really is more of a hybrid world, and by hybrid I mean there are massive metropolises of cities like Zafu and Republic City, and there's more of them, and they're bigger, and they're metal, and they have skyscrapers that touch the sky, and have a really cool shot in book two featuring Ray on one of those, but that's another story for another time. And you're like, this is great, but there's also the people like Ray, who is very much traditionalist. I mean, if you look at his outfit, he doesn't look like what Bolin was, where he wore very modern clothing. He's very much a traditionalist style of clothing, which is great because that's how he was raised. He was raised in a small village in the Earth Kingdom, very separate from all the other cities and towns, and he has a very specific way of thinking, and he believes in helping others when they are needed. That's what his role is. He is the guardian of his village, and he takes great pride in that. He finds great honor in that, and that's beautiful to me. And then when he's thrown into the bigger world, not unlike what Korra was, he sees the downside of modernism, which is one of the heavy themes here, is that we can advance a great deal, and we should. But if we lose everything that we gained along the way, what are we becoming? And a great example of that is that he goes to this modern city once, and he sees homeless people, like in this underdeveloped part of the city. That they literally just stopped building the city right here, and there's homeless people there, and he just can't believe it because there's no one homeless in his home. There's no one homeless in like a lot of the other areas that he's seen, and that there's people here starving without lives, without money, without anything. And he's like, how is this possible? How did we fail to see this? And then as it goes on and the conspiracy just continues to win victories and the people are supporting them, he just basically asks, are these people worth saving? Why am I risking my life for these people who believe who I am evil? That the conspiracy is the greater good here, not the avatar, not me, not the person who's risked everything to try and save this world and everyone within it. And that's going to be a question he has to keep asking himself as the story continues, because there is no easy answer. Because on one hand, the people are innocent because they don't know the true story, but on the other hand, they're not exactly innocent because they're guilty of supporting this and what comes next. And every step the conspiracy makes, and all the people and all the beings that they hurt, they're supporting it. So what is right here and what is wrong? And is there truly a balance between the traditional ways that make us a better person versus the modern ways which make us a better society, if you will? That's something that we're going to have to, that Ray and hopefully you, the viewer, will get to ask as we go on. And the lines between good and evil are very much blurred here, which is something I really loved about Legend of Korra, is that their villains were very much blurry in the lines between good and evil in a lot of their respects. And my conspiracy have a lot of members who are like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how you think it all unfolds. So the question here now is, why do I think Spirit of Earth is worthy of being the third Avatar series? Well, I'm going to be honest. I just think it's a really good story. And as I'm going to reveal to you now, obviously, there's going to be changes to me, which for something I'm about to explain. But at its core, what it is something special, and it's different from Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, and it's different than what's been done before. And I think that given a few changes here and there, it can be something even greater than what I envisioned, and I love it. But also that the characters are really special. We have, just going back to the picture, I love this picture. It's actually the first original art for Spirit of Earth outside the banner, you'll see. Ray is something special. He is truly his own avatar. You'll see flashes of Aang in his spirituality. You'll see flashes of Korra in his passion. But what you'll really see is you'll see a guy who is very, very damaged and very, very hurt. And he doesn't want to become the Avatar because he fears that he will never be redeemed from the sins of his past. And his being a guardian of his village was very much a part of his redemption. Being the Avatar, he feels is not upholding a promise he kept in being the guardian of his village. And so it's going to be fun seeing him go from this guy who doesn't want to be the Avatar to this guy who fully accepts he's the Avatar, and the duty and the honor and the responsibility and the legacy of what that means. But then you got my other characters. You got Raya, who's the our resident firebender, if you can't tell. She's something special. Oh yeah. If you if you want to find out how special, just go to chapter 4 in book 1 and you'll see just how special she is. Then we got Aina, our airbender. She's really cool. We meet her in book 2, and she's definitely different from a lot of airbenders you've ever met. But the real trick here is that we got Swift, who is our first ever spirit member of Team Avatar. And he brings a whole new dynamic to the team. He brings a whole new story to the team and a level of not just wisdom, but knowing in that he knows there's a lot of things going on right now, and he knows that only the Avatar can save both his people and the world at large. So he is very much Ray's biggest supporter, and he believes in Ray more than Ray believes in himself. And so watching that unfold and knowing the story, knowing where it goes, I think it's something special. And I think this could be the third Avatar series. Now, as you'll hopefully want to read this now, as I'm going to 17 minutes, I apologize, I wanted to only be 12, whatever. You'll find out that I wrote this right after book 1 of Legend of Korra, like literally, and then I finished it right after book 2, roughly a year ago today. Has it really been that long? I know, right? So you'll think you'll think, wait a minute, doesn't that mean there's going to be a lot of changes? And the answer is yes or no. Yes, there are changes that need to be made, but no, not as many as you might think, or not as many as you think will break my story in half, as a friend of mine once told me. And so, as I'm going to wrap up this video, I want you to know that I'm going to have a few more video series, video episodes, if you will, about this, because I have a list right here about things that need to change and things that can stay the same. And I want to explain those to you because I want you to know that I have given this a lot of thought, and I want to show you the foresight I have in this, because this story is special to me. Spirit of Earth means a lot to me, just like Legend of Korra meant a lot to me, and Last Airbender meant a lot to me, and I love it. And I wouldn't be here in my capacity as a writer for other things. If you know me, you know what those are. If it wasn't for Spirit of Earth, because that really was the kickstart of me saying, hey, why don't I just write a story? Why don't I just truly write something that's both familiar yet new? And I love it. And you can call it fan fiction, you can call it an original story. I'll let you be the judge, but for me, this is truly something special. And so where do I want to go with this? So I have the story done. I have the art. I have a lot of art. I have actually more art on the way, possible more animated videos on the way, more like clips, but whatever. I want your help, because I want your help to spread the word, because if you like Spirit of Earth, if you like my intro video, and if you think this could be the third series, I need your help, because I want to spread the word. I don't care if I have to do it one fan at a time. I don't care if I have to Skype every single one of you and talk with you and interact with you as fans of Avatar and say, do you think this could work? And explain to you why it could and everything. I'll do it. That's why I'm doing this, because I wanted a personal connection with you, the fans of TLA and LOK, and hopefully SOE, Spirit of Earth, and say, hey, let's help make this happen. Because if enough of us talk about it, if enough of us watch the video, we just passed 1,400 views, which is huge for me, because I have like no YouTube presence. So that means I'm doing something right. So, you know, if this happens, if we get enough views, if enough people read Spirit of Earth, enough people spread the word, maybe this reaches Brian and Mike. And maybe this says, at the very minimum, hey, maybe we should consider a third series. And you know what? It may not be Spirit of Earth. They may say, this is good, but we could do something else. We should do something different. That's fine. I want a third series, and I feel like I have an idea. And if they say, what to me, if they talk to me and say, Todd, we admire your passion, but we can't do Spirit of Earth, that's fine, because I know we reached them, and that will mean the world to me as well. But if they say, hey, Todd, maybe we should do Spirit of Earth, want to talk about it? Heck yeah! Dream come true. Yeah, I know, right? And I'll have every single one of you to thank for that. So, as I wrap this up, 21 minutes in, roughly, I want to say, if you've made it this far, thank you. I do appreciate it. If you want to read Spirit of Earth or watch our intro video, you'll find it below if you're on YouTube, you'll find in the description. Make sure you click show more. If you're on one of the pages I've posted it on, I should have all the information there. And if anything, just type, if you still can't find it for some weird reason, just go to Google, type in Avatar, Spirit of Earth. I should be the first link there. So I hope you'll help. I hope you want a third series. And if you want to help me at least try and guarantee it, whether it be Spirit of Earth or something else entirely, I hope you'll help. And I hope you'll stay tuned, because I'm going to have at least 2 more videos detailing more about Spirit of Earth and what it's all about and what's to come and what's to change and all that. So again, this is Todd Black, writer of Spirit of Earth. I hope to talk with you more. If you have questions, post a comment, whether it's here or on one of the pages I got. I want to talk with you, Avatar fans, and I hope we can build some new friendships along the way. So I thank you for your time. I hope to check out and enjoy Avatar Spirit of Earth, and I hope to talk to you very, very soon.